Live and direct, live and I take no jive.
Legalize it.
Coming how much can a koala bear? Koala bear, koala bear. Koala bear. Barry pulls a joint out of his pocket. Bill says, "Great, Barry, a reefer."
Welcome back. It's another episode of the Koala podcast. And in this episode, and it's been a while, we're off to Slovenia to talk to Nejc at Essentia Pura. He's been running a CBD white label company since 2019, I think it is, isn't it?
Correct.
And he's just going to sort of give us a little bit of information about, latest rules and regs in these sort of countries that sort of border that sort of east-west part of Europe, where we all hear there's lots of things happening, but the information is normally so lightweight by the time it arrives in a publication that we really don't know the details. So I'm going to ask Nejc a few questions about, and let's start with Slovenia, because that's where you do the majority of your work, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct, Sean. First of all, thanks for hosting us. It's our pleasure. We have a manufacturing facility in Slovenia on the west part, which is the border to Italy. And CBD, usually when we talk about CBD in Europe, it's either cosmetics, registered cosmetic product, or it's regulated by novel food regulation, which applies to if sold as food or food supplements. So briefly about novel food is directive from European Union, meaning that if food or a food supplement wasn't manufactured before 1997, it goes to novel food. So you have to kind of prove it, or manufacturers have to prove it, that it's considered as safe to consume. And currently CBD, if sold as a food or food supplement, goes under to novel food regulation. But this depends then on each member state of EU. Some member states decided to enforce the novel food, some not. So to some states it's permitted to be sold as a food supplement, while in some not.
I suppose the first question I'm interested in is, when you're sourcing your biomass in Slovenia, are you sourcing it locally or are you buying it internationally? And what rules and regulations come into place if you're buying outside Slovenia?
So we source majority of our biomass, hemp, from Italy. Why? Because in Italy it's allowed to grow various types of EU certified seeds, while in Slovenia only a few. And those grown in Italy produce a better cannabinoid profile than those grown in Slovenia. Also, south of Italy has a more appropriate climate to grow the biomass, to grow hemp. We need to play by the rules, so the biomass has less than 0.3%.
It is 0.3, yeah?
Yeah, before it was 0.2, but now they change it up to 0.3.
You get it in, and then you've got to process it. Are there, as well as the EU regulations, are there Slovenian local regulations that you have to apply to as well?
No, not really. Basically, the biomass, when we buy it from Italy, we bring it also over the border. I mean, it's traded as a free commodity wherever in EU, unless the country has some specific standards. For example, to my latest awareness, in Italy, it's even allowed to have in the field up to 0.6% THC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And do you know the reason for that? Is that local rules and regulations in certain parts of Italy, or is that court mandated? How? For me, this information is so hard to come by.
No, we don't have so many local rules rather than government rules or country by country rules. The idea, to my awareness, is that they decided to increase the amount of THC, and similar in Czech Republic. So to make it easier for farmers, for agriculture, because if you're looking to have a high CBD content, it's really hard to using just EU certified hemps, because we're not allowed to make some sort of genetics because it gets EU certified and clones. So it's hard to get a high CBD and a very low THC inside the plant itself. And it's quickly, you miss a week or two, and the THC would go above. Okay, my expertise doesn't lie that much in agriculture rather than post processing of it.
And what about other countries sort of in the region? So I'm looking at the Balkans. I know very little information. Is there any agricultural hemp being grown in Croatia, Serbia, Macedonia, all the way through to Greece? If there is, are they just processing that locally, or is that actually being exported to people like yourselves in other jurisdictions in the EU?
So if we go country by country, for example, starting with Croatia, it's strong in hemp agriculture as well. The majority of the hemp would be processed locally, and but the majority of it would be used for producing hemp seed oil, or clothes, or hemp feed. Not that much post-processed into the CBD oils or CBD products or hemp
because
extract.
I'm quite interested, because I was recently in southern Turkey, and there was a store in Bodrum where you could obviously get hemp seed oil, but I noticed I could buy also high quality CBD oil in Turkey, and I was surprised that I was able that was offered in that jurisdiction. I mean, this is where I'm very interested in the work that you do, because you're processing and then exporting. Are you exporting within your sort of smaller geographical area, or really are your clients more Northern European?
Our clients, majority of our clients come from Europe, from European Union. Our biggest markets are Germany, Netherlands, some North countries, UK, Spain, and France. We're not that much focused on southern countries or ex-Yugoslavian Balkan countries, as there is not that many players in it that would be using our white label or private label services. They are more smaller niches, B2C brands, so to say. Don't know, to answer your question about Turkey, it's funny that you were able to see CBD, because it's
I have to say I was very surprised.
It's not officially allowed. We had some inquiries, but upon rechecking all the time the regulation of our awareness up to date, it's still CBD is not allowed in Turkey, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Your business, is it a steady rise since 2018, 2019? Because with the regulation, say we look at Germany, they move forward, they move backward, they change rules on medical. It's hard to understand how a business like yours can really plan for any business, because it seems to me that although certain EU rules and regulations are set in place for hemp growth and CBD production on that, you never really know whether they're going to change the rules on you at any moment, and thus affect your business in terms of, because I presume, without your business being an export market, it's not a business, is it?
Yeah, that's correct. No, and it's been a bumpy road. So we grew significantly in the first years. Then we also took the advantage or the CBD hype, right? I mean, we grew as CBD market.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was that early 20s, but now it's sort of settled down a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has settled down in Europe too, similar to US. It entered in more to a mature phase, so to say. Then our sales in that years declined a bit, and now over the past years we are having a steady and strong increase in sales again. So yeah, it's more healthy growth than it was in the past, because it was growing like we have a saying, like mushrooms after the rain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice to see also this maturity phase, market adoption. CBD products are perceived well among European consumers, and yeah, we have a very positive outlook on the market in the next years.
So what about medical cannabis as defined, but not really properly defined yet in Slovenia? Is there any legislation in play for what the Americans would call medicinal cannabis products?
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about it. It's also actually now, I don't know if they changed it till last time, but it's been legalized on the paper. So you can get a prescription technically from a doctor for medical cannabis. You can even have a plant or two growing at your home.
Okay.
But it's like opening now dispensaries or coffee shops and so on. No, this is it's still not.
So it's purely within the medical environment. And are there companies in Slovenia growing medical cannabis in production?
No.
So
No, it's not allowed. No.
So if you want to source medical cannabis, it's an import. It's an import from Canada, basically, isn't it?
I think majority of within Europe comes from Germany.
It is from Germany, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is from Germany. I'm not sure now about the because there is lots of medical cannabis in Macedonia too. You mentioned it before. Don't know the numbers because we're not in medical cannabis business. We are in cannabinoids, more in nutraceuticals. But there is a lot of there is significant amount of medical cannabis in Macedonia as well. Yeah.
And for you, your business, you're purely going to stay in the nutraceuticals CBD business. That's really how you see your future.
Yes, we will stay. We will stay here. Yeah. Maybe one day would be if we would get post-processing, making some standardized extracts from medical cannabis would be an option. Yes, but we wouldn't go into the cultivation or growing business.
No, it's too expensive. Yeah, I mean the capital expenditure is just outrageous, isn't it?
I mean, it's also our expertise doesn't lie there. We specialized in manufacturing of extracts, formulations of white label and private label products, and we would like to focus here, to work on our strengths. Yeah, not just seeking next business opportunity. Yeah.
And do you see that there's opportunities for you outside the European markets?
Yes, it is. We already sell to US as well and non-EU member states. Sometimes the issue comes down to the regulation. Somewhere CBD is completely legal, banned. On the other side, they are a little bit more loose when it comes to regulation in terms of cosmetics. But yeah, I think when there is a good regulation in place outside the EU, there is can be lucrative market as well. Yeah.
And with regard to Slovenia in terms of politics, is there a desire to have an open cannabis and hemp market environment where, as you discussed, you said earlier, they're going to have, I mean, do people want that and government doesn't want it, or is it sort of in a not really discussed world at the moment?
There's a lot of discussion, but there is also a big split in terms of politics, and people are a little bit more maybe leaning to it. The hemp or cannabis has been more and more, I mean, better adopted, so to say. It's not perceived as a drug anymore that much. There is still some those who are cons, but I think the majority of people are pro for legislation.
Well, Nick, thank you very much for answering a few questions about Slovenia, and I'm very interested actually I might just dig in a little bit more. Do you think that between Slovenia and Italy there will be more and more business in terms of the Italians being the supplier of the biomass, and they supply to you? Do the Italians supply to other countries in Europe as well in terms of biomass, hemp biomass?
Yes.
Is that
I believe so. Yeah.
That seems a quite hidden bit of information. I don't see much about it. Do you have import? Do you know if Slovenia only allows X or Y amount to come in a year, or is it an open market?
No, it's a completely open market.
Oh, that's interesting. Very interesting indeed. Well, anyway, thank you very much for being on the Karma Koala podcast, because it does open up a discussion for me and for people who just don't know about Slovenia. So it's private business information is sometimes hard to make public. So thank you very much for being so open about the work you do and how you've been doing your business over the last 6 or 7 years.
Thank you, Sean. It's been my pleasure, and thanks for hosting.
Live and direct, live and I take no jive.
Legalize it. I mean, how much can a koala bear? Koala bear. Koala bear. Koala bear. Barry pulls a joint out of his pocket. Bill says, "Great, Barry, a reefer."